Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the course on cryptography and system security. During our last session, we started the chapter 3, and then we were discussing about some of the fundamental terms which are related to the authentications. We discussed about what is an authentication, we discussed about integrity, then we discussed about different authentication requirements, all the different type attacks which can be protected, which can be avoided by applying a different the precautionary measures, right? So then we started about authentication functions. After that, so far we were discussing about message encryption. This is a simple encryption function, right? At the end of the encryption, the data which has to be converted in the form of ciphertext, right? That information, because the encryption which uses a key, irrespective of whether it is a private key or symmetric key encryption or the public key encryption. The person who knows the key and he will be considered as an authenticated user. By the way, this message encryption which also be the part of an authentication. The second one is message authentication code, in which where the plain text information which are going to be uh, processed or which are going to be applied with secret key or any key. So this plain text and key which will produce a fixed size code. This code is going to act as an authentication, right? This is sender side. Similarly, this operation which is going to be repeated at the receiver end, received message and secret key, and which will generate a code which is message authentication code. This code will be compared. Right? Similarly, the last one is hash function. When we talk about the hash function, it's a public function which accepts a variable size of input. From that, it will produce a fixed size output that is called a hash code or hash value. So that I could explain with this. When we talk about the hash function, if any information which you are transmitting, which is say for example computer, out of that, if which can accept, this is the input, right? From this input we can apply any function, hash function, h of n is the plain text, right? So this is going to produce, say for example, right? So let's assume this is my 5-digit hash code or 5-character hash code. So from the given values, right, I can randomly, with the help of any function, you can use any function based on your selection, right? And from this, I can do the combinations like, say, for example, I can take the seventh letter and then fifth letter, first letter, third letter, second letter, right? Out of this, let me check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So based on this function, the sequence which I selected, I'll generate a code which is seventh letter which is E, and then fifth letter is U, and first letter is C, and the third letter is M, and second letter is O. Now this is called an hash function. I hope you are clear now. Hash function is a public function which will accept any input. Say for example, computer engineering, right? It can accept any size of input. From that, with the help of any public function, which is going to produce a fixed size output. That fixed size output can be called as hash code or message digest. Now you are clear as for the example which I am explaining now. My hash code value which is 5 characters, but my input size is which is 8 and something which is more than 15, 20. Let's assume it is a 20 bit 20 character input, and then I am applying hash function which produced 5 bit of or 5 character of hash code. So this is hash function as well as hash code. Any doubt regarding the hash code and hash function? If you have any queries, quickly can write in the chat box. Now, in the next sessions, we will be studying about different encryption, different hash function, which is MD5 and then SHA 512, right? So, what these numbers SHA1, SHA 512, MD5, this MD5 which produce 128-bit output. So here the value is comes followed by the SHA. So this SHA 512 function which produces the output which is 512 in bits. Again, this MD5 algorithm which produces output. Output means the hash code which is 128-bit hash code. This is 512-bit hash code. So there are different variations in the different hash functions what we use, what we are going to use in the different types of applications, right? And that we will discuss in the later sessions. Once again. So I was explaining about the three functions, right? Which I explained in detail about what is this encryption functions. Already we studied about the different encryption functions. I'm not going to discuss this in detail, right? So I can just move into the next. So there are different variations in the encryption functions, right? I'll cover this part. Right now, the first thing is that when this is a conventional encryption which achieves confidentiality as well as authentications. This is M is see there are different notation used in the diagrams. I'll explain all right. M which is stands for plain text or actual information which we are going to transmit, and E is encryption function, and K is key, right? D is decryption function. The first, which is a secret key encryption technique, the actual message which is going to be encrypted using key K, and so this is ciphertext, which is M, which has been encrypted using K, and this ciphertext is going to be transmitted. The receiver end, receiver will receive the message and it will do the decryption using a shared secret key, and he can attain the actual information. How this achieve the confidentiality as well as authentication? Any justifications? How this technique which achieves confidentiality as well as authentication? Any justification from your end? See, here both the users they are using a key, the key which should not be known to other users other than this. Suppose if A is the sender and B is the receiver, other than these two users, the key should not be known to anyone. By the way, it achieves both the confidentiality as well as authentications. Very good. So similarly, when we move to the next category, in which is the public key encryption, right, which achieves only confidentiality. I explained this more when I discussed about the public key cryptography. Again, the second one is digital signature. If any data which is encrypted using receiver's public key, and the data which has to be decrypted using receiver's private key, so this achieves confidentiality or secrecy. I hope you remember this concept, because this is achieved secrecy because the data is going to be decrypted using receiver's private key. Receiver's private key will known only by the receiver. By the way, it achieves confidentiality. Otherwise, no one can decrypt the message, because it has to be decrypted with the receiver's private key. Receiver's private key, it's a private key which is known only by the receiver, right? Second, which is an authentication. Whenever if you wanted to achieve any authentication or digital signature, the sender's private key is used for encryption process. So here this achieves confidentiality, sorry, authentication, because the data are the actual information which is encrypted using sender's private key, and we'll get the ciphertext. Now this ciphertext information which is going to be transferred to the receiver. By receiving the ciphertext, receiver will decrypt the information using sender's public key. Now, what is the problem with this kind? So this achieves authentication, but the problem is that so this may not guarantee that whether the data has been read by the actual receiver, because the sender's public key can known by anyone and they can do the decryptions. There are chances, right? In the first case, it can achieve secrecy, because so this does not provide an authentication, because the data has to be encrypted by receiver's public key. Receiver's public key can known by anyone in the network. Anyone can use receiver's public key and he can send the message, right? So to overcome these two things, so we can combine both, right? The first thing is that first encryption using sender's private key, which is for authentications, and the intermediate ciphertext has to be encrypted one more time using receiver's public key. So by the way, so this achieves confidentiality, authentication as well as confidentiality. Again, decryption has to be carried out with the corresponding encryptions, alternate techniques. I hope this is clear. Any queries regarding this basic uses of message encryption? So I explained in detail about both the symmetric key encryption, public key encryption, confidentiality, authentications, and confidentiality, and then authentication techniques. If you have any queries regarding the message encryption techniques, quickly can write in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask the query. Okay, so this is another extended version, right? Different ways of providing structures, right? So here, along with the all the encrypted values, what I was trying to explain is that I'll try to explain with the previous slide. Okay. So here, the same information, right? We are going to use some frame check sequence along with the actual information that is used for error detection and error corrections. What is meant by this error? Whenever if you are using any data in the network or any transmission, when we talk about the error, what is this error? Error is any additional or unwanted information, or this can be called as a noise, right? Which might have added along with the actual information, right? Along with the actual information, some unwanted information or noise which might have added, and that is going to be delivered to the receiver. But this, if any errors, right, which is detected in the message which is received, right, so that can be detected manually, or there are certain techniques through which error can be detected as well as error can be corrected. So those techniques are error detection and error correction techniques. I think you would have studied about the Hamming codes in the data structures. Hamming codes, cyclic redundancy check, CRC as well as Hamming codes. So these are the error correction as well as error detection codes. And when we talk about the error correction, you would have studied about the parity bits, even parity and parities, right? So here, how this the frame check sequence which is going to be used for error detecting, right? The first thing is that actual information. Along with that, we are going to add this functions, right, which is frame frame check sequence, and the two information, this symbol, you can see this symbol, this is concatenation symbol. What is meant by this concatenation? So both the information which are going to be added together at the end. So for example, here it is SAMPATH. Now this is, let's say this is ABC. Concatenation means this information will be appended at the end of the actual information. SAMPATH followed by this ABC. This is concatenation, not somewhere in the middle, right? The data here, the second information which has to be appended at the end of the first information, that is concatenations, right? After that, so here this will be a complete plain text and followed by this check. Now the entire information which has to be encrypted using a key K, right? Now we are applying the encryption. Just keep in mind that we are applying the encryption for the data which is concatenated with the frame check sequence. Now this frame check sequence might be any codes or any error correction, error detection codes, maybe any parity bits, right? So that could have added with the actual information. That the entire information has to be encrypted using a K, and so this will produce a ciphertext. And the corresponding reverse operation decryption using K, and here we'll have the actual information as well as the frame check sequence which are separated together. Sorry, separated. This is what the concatenated information. After that, they will segregate the actual information, this, and then the frame check sequence. Now from this plain text, again they will apply the function f, even they will generate the code. And whatever the code they are generating, this is the code which has been calculated by the receiver based on the formula or the function which is adapted by the sender. The same function or formula which will be used by the receiver, and he will be doing the calculations of the codes. Whatever the code which has been calculated, that is going to be compared. What the code which is received from the sender side, which is ABC, and this is the code calculated by the receiver. This is the code received from the sender. Now both these values are going to be compared. If both the values are matches, are equal, that means that the data which has no error, without any modification, data has been delivered. So this is how the different error correction as well as error detection codes can be adapted with the existing techniques, existing encryption techniques to find as well as correct the detection of the errors. Okay. So similarly, this is another variant which is this is an internal error control. This is an external error control, right? Where we encrypt the data for the encrypted value, right? So here we just will do the encryption first. Here the encryption takes place at the last, and here the encryption takes place for the actual information, and followed by encrypted data they are using for checksum. Now this internal error control, because so here there are chances that the frame check sequence which may interpret the message what is being conveyed. So because this function which is applied directly on the actual information or plain text, by the way, it is called internal error control. Now here, when we talk about the second category, this is external error control, where the frame check sequence which is going to be applied for the cipher text. Before applying the function, we are using encryption. At the end of the encryption, we are getting a cipher text. Now, this cipher text will be the input for a function of error corrections. I hope this is clear. Any queries regarding this explanation? Any queries regarding this explanation of message encryptions, different uses of encryptions? The detailed the diagrams notations they were given, right? The same, the entire thing which I explained with the diagrams, right? Here they were given with the notations, right? Provides only confidentiality and provides authentications, right? So I'll skip this part. I'll move to the next slide, which is message authentication code. What is meant by message authentication code? It uses any message, along with the message it will use a key, and that will produce a fixed size code. This code will be called as MAC, message authentication code, and so this will be used for authentications, right? So this message authentication code, right? So this assures that message has not been altered, because every time after receiving the message, it is going to be applied with the key, and it is going to be calculate the key scores, even if there is a change in the bit, so that will produce a different value. But message is, so also it ensures the message is from the authenticated sender and message sequence is unaltered, right? So these are the certain assurance when we implement the message authentication code we can achieve. Message should not be altered, and the message will be received from the authenticated sender, and message sequence is unaltered, right? So when we talk about this reversible, so here the message, one important point you need to remember is that when we study about this hash function or message authentication code, this these two techniques, message authentication code and hash function, which are not reversible. What is meant by this not reversible? I'll say that here, let me recall the example which I've used, COMPUTR computer, but from this I have produced uh, EUCMO. This is input. Computer engineering. From this, I produced as code EUCMO. I say that this is not reversible. That means that from the given plain text, we can produce the hash code. Suppose if you have the hash code EUCMO, you will not be able to reproduce the actual message. So that is called, it is irreversible. This function is hash function as well as message authentication code are not reversible. But when we talk about encryption, it is a reversible operations. Message encryption to ciphertext to the plain text or message. So that operations are reversible operation. But when it comes for the message authentication code and then hash function, so these two operations are irreversible. That means that from the given text, given the plain text, we can produce the hash code or message authentication code. But for the given hash code or for given message authentication code, from that it is very difficult or it is impossible to reproduce the plain text. Because one thing I could say that the input may variable in any size. Say for example, 1 lakh character. So 2 power 1024 characters bit. From this, anyhow I use a function and I'll produce just 128 bit. But if I get this 128 bit, how can I reproduce this 1024 bits? It is very difficult. It is not at all possible, right? I hope it is clear why this the hash function as well as message authentication code are reversible, irreversible. Are you clear? Any queries regarding the explanation of message authentication code irreversible? So the same concept, same logic, which is also applicable for hash function. Both message authentication code and hash codes are irreversible. Is it clear? Any clarifications required on this? Anyone can acknowledge in the chat box. Thank you for your response. Right, and I will move to the further explanations. So there are different variants similar to what we studied in the encryption functions, right? We'll discuss one by one. So you all knowing about the logics, right? Encryption and decryption function, right? I will be moving little fast, right? Plain text, which is no any function which is code and which is going to be applied. See, this is the function, right? Any message authentication code function, right? Which can be encrypted using K, right? I won't say it is an encryption because if I use the word encryption, definitely alternately I should use the decryption. Instead, I will use message authentication code function, MAC function, message and the function which has to be applied with the key K that will produce the value that is going to be concatenated with the M and message authentication code, right? And from this received message, and the receiver will apply the same function with the same key, and it will produce the code, which is C A of M. After calculation, this value is going to be compared with this value. If it is matches, the data is not altered during the transmission. Similarly, there are different variations. This is message authentication. this message authentication and confidentiality. So where we'll be using a different encryptions, right? This is the first part along with the existing part. So here we are going to use one more encryption function to identify that authenticity, because it uses secret key which is known only by the two users. So automatically it provides secrecy as well as authentications, right? Similarly, right, there are, if you want, so this is internal, this is external, and this is internal. First, the message can be encrypted using K2, right? It really doesn't matter where we are applying. Suppose if we wanted to protect our complete information, plain text, the plain text which is encrypted, and here we are doing MAC or message authentication code on the cipher text, but here we are directly we are applying the MAC on the actual information, and we are getting the code that is going to be concatenated here. I hope this is clear. The first, let me explain again. In this method, right, the message authentication code function is directly applied on the plain text, but here first encryption is applied for the actual information, and this will produce a cipher text. Now on the cipher text they are applying the message authentication code. So this is again a simple variant where we use whether we'll use a MAC code first or whether we'll use encryption process at first. Again, the corresponding notation based explanations, the same which I explained with the diagram theoretically, they have given as the notations. After that, so there are certain notation I just need to explain. This A gives B means the message which is being transmitted to B. A to B, message is being transmitted from A to B. M is the plain text, CK of M, which is any message authentication code function which uses K, and M is the plain text. Here, the entire information message, and that is going to be concatenated with the information or the code which has been produced using the MAC, message authentication code. Now, this entire information which has been applied encryption using K2. So, whatever the part which comes inside the bracket, so that will be done first. So, out of that, so this process will be carried out first, and the entire information will be applied again encryption. Right? Similarly, the further explanations can be understood. Next, I'll be explaining about the hash function. So far we were discussing about the little introduction related to the hash functions, right? So I was explaining about this hash function is any public function which accepts a variable size of input and which will produce a fixed size output, which h of m, which may be called a message digest or hash code, right? So these are the different notations, right? So h is the hash function, and the different variations, right? Message and hash code which can be combined and that can be encrypted again. So only the hash code can be encrypted and that can be combined with the message. I hope you are clear with the what notation I have used, right? Which is e-transfer encryption. H is for hash function, hash code, let's assume, and M is the plain text. These are the different variants, different methods through which, right, the hash code can be produced in the combinations, right? First, this again H hash code might have signed and followed by that can be concatenated with the plain text. Again, the entire information, plain text plus signed hash code, which has to be encrypted. By the way, we will try all the combinations as well as I'll explain the combinations through which we can apply the hash codes with the diagrams. So the previous notation I was explaining these only. So here there are different variants or different uses of basic hash functions. From that we will try to understand more clear how the hash functions can be used in the different combinations. So here the first is message. Say for example SAMPATH and hash function. So that produced hash code. Any hash function and that produced ABC or SPT. Now this entire information which is going to be added here, SAMPATH, SPT. After that, the entire information which is going to be applied to the encryption function using K. So SAMPATH and SPT will be converted into ciphertext A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm just writing randomly. I check it. This is the ciphertext. Now, this information which is going to be transferred to the receiver will do the decryption using key, and you will get the intermediate ciphertext which is SAMPATH, SPT, and then from this SAMPATH he will separate the plain text as well as code, and from this SAMPATH you will use the same function which we use here, and then you will get the code SPT. Now this code will be compiled. This is the logic behind the hash function. I hope I have already explained this, right? For better understanding, I repeat it one more time, right? With this basic idea, there are different varieties through which at which place the hash function can be applied. The second category is that the message and hash function is applied, and here we are applying encryption only to the hash code which we produced, right? We wanted to protect only the hash code. So for that specifically we are applying the hash code for encryption. So here what we will have, message plus encrypted hash code. I hope this is what which I explained in the previous slide, which is the notation E of H, which is encrypted plain text with encrypted hash code. So that is going to be transferred. So here this is the plain text, this is encrypted hash code. Now they will separate and then they will apply the hash code for the plain text and will produce the code. So now whatever the code which is encrypted, that needs to be decrypted using K, that will give the actual hash code. Now this two value which is going to be compared.